Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another Tea with Spirit show. This is Psychic Medium Ray. I'm just waiting for all of my peeps to come on. Hey, everyone, comment if you are here. Hey, LaTanya. Hi, Brianne. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Kendall. Apache Flower. Robert. Good Sharon. Colleen. Hey, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy being on again. I've been a little MIA, and for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, hi, Mr. Shoddy Red, and you're not aware as to why I have been MIA. I took a mini vacation. Where did I go? I went nowhere, no other than to New Orleans, Louisiana, or like some people say, Louisiana. And I had the time of my life. I really did. I had never actually flown on an airplane, so that was the first for me. But I can say that I really enjoyed it. It's so. Mr. Shoddy Red says, "My city, yeah, your city is amazing." The thing is that being a Texan going to Louisiana, I didn't know what to expect, but the hospitality there is amazing. People are just so kind, and I feel like, Louisiana is often feared for whatever reason. People, want to label it as a place of voodoo, hoodoo, and something dark, and it's not that. Now, me being there, I already knew this prior to going there, but me actually being there in New Orleans, I was able to see the beauty of my brothers and sisters that live there, the actual city, and appreciation for the ancestry that's there. But not just the ancestry, but also the culture, the spirits. There's a lot of magic that is in the city, and you come alive. You sort of blend in into the crowd, and it's very easy to kind of blend into the crowd. My friend Pamela and I actually, no, I didn't go gambling, MJ. No, but I saw one of the casinos they have there. But the whole city is jam-packed with spirits. And I feel like a lot of the tourism on the city takes away from the beauty of the city. And a lot of people that go there to have a fun time, they don't really respect spirit. Me going over there, I had to respect spirit because I knew that there's a lot of things that happen there. So it was really good, to get out of Texas, go there, and just see everything that is going on. Just got a message from Donnie at the St. James Hotel, who was amazing. Thank you so much, guys. So if you haven't ever been, I definitely would go to the city. A lot of people are asking about Christopher Columbus. I don't celebrate that. I don't observe it. I don't feel like he was a good person to begin with. I know somebody was asking, but going back to New Orleans, I'll cover about Christopher Columbus in a minute. Thank you, Christine K. Yes, a little bit. Kind of changing it up. I mean, it is the season of Halloween. But like I was saying, as far as the city is concerned, there's so much to do, so much to see. And the thing is that there is a lot of people there that go and they drink and they get inebriated and they start, partying. They're not really respectful of the actual ancestry and the spirits that are there in New Orleans, which there's a lot. And when I was there, the one thing that I felt was just a lot of spirit activity. Like everywhere you go, everywhere in New Orleans, basically every single spot has spirits roaming throughout the city. And they're good spirits, protectors of the city, a lot of the ancestors. I didn't go to the thing here, and Mr. Shoddy Red, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's actually 2 tombs supposedly that are hers. When I asked the natives where she was located, none of them wanted to tell me, and I understand the reason why. A lot of tourists that go, and people that maybe live there that are young, immature people that are practicing magic. They go to the cemeteries, they sneak in illegally, and they perform rituals and deface Marie Laveau's tomb. But the actual tomb itself, like there's a story. Supposedly there's two tombs. One was for the tourists to actually go, if I'm not mistaken, and kind of to deface. And that's what was created. Like, I don't know who in the city assigned that, but it was to trick the tourists to go to that cemetery and deface the actual tomb, her tomb. And then there's another tomb in the St. Louis Cemetery, which is supposed to be her authentic tomb, if I'm not mistaken. And that one is not, and that one people eventually found out about this whole thing. And so they, continue to visit it. But now there's laws, according to my friend Celeste from the Vampire Boutique there in New Orleans. She's amazing. I didn't get to meet her because I had an impromptu thing that I'm going to be talking about. Hi, everyone. And so she told me that basically in 2015 there in NOLA in New Orleans, they passed different laws. Not you cannot go into the cemetery itself unless you're with a license, unless you are with, I don't know, like a guided tour, like somebody that's licensed. And there is someone that supposedly watches over the cemeteries 24/7. So I don't know, but my friend Pamela did get to do the walking tour of the cemetery and did leave an offering to Marie Laveau, which is very beautiful. I wanted to go ahead and go on that tour with her, but I couldn't because it was really hot when I went, and then it changed, and I had some other things that I needed to do there in the city as well. But I did send my love and respect to Marie Laveau, who was not evil like people have pegged her to be, and I did a reading on her. If you haven't checked that out on my playlist, you can go to Marie Laveau's psychic reading, and I did one on her. And it's very, intriguing how people have pegged her to be this voodoo priestess that was out, to hurt people. And that's not the truth. So she's definitely was more of a protector, like people are saying on here. And just a beautiful soul. And so I think that's the reason that, and it's just not that. When I was in the hotel, I stayed at the St. James Hotel. A lot of people there, said the hotel was haunted, whatnot. I felt definitely a lot of spirit activity. And one of the things that the spirits that came to me said was, they weren't really happy with the fact that people are touring and not respecting the spaces. And I flew out Wednesday morning, midday, from Houston, Texas to New Orleans. And I was going to stay until Saturday and then leave on Saturday. But I had to leave Friday night. Well, Thursday night, Spirit spoke to me. And what was so crazy, I was in my hotel room on the 3rd floor, and I felt like something was falling. I kept feeling like something was falling, and I didn't know what it was. And then it turns out that a spirit just said, you need to get a flight, an emergency flight out of New Orleans. And they didn't say why. I was very upset because I wanted to see my friend Celeste at the Vampire Boutique, and I didn't get to meet her. But I'll be back to New Orleans. And so I had to leave the actual hotel in the city, and I got a flight for Friday around 2 o'clock. Turns out Friday, I was going to stay there all day, and I was going to actually, Saturday, I was going to stay there, and I was going to go down Canal Street and go to some shops there, not too far from the hotel, the Hard Rock Hotel that actually collapsed Saturday. So this is what I'm talking about when we kind of listen to spirit guides, our angels, and they're talking to us or they're nudging us to go. You need to listen. And I'm so glad that I always listen to my spirit guides. Sometimes I'm stubborn and I don't listen, but I'm glad that I did, because had I not listened, I could have potentially been in that area where that hotel, the 6th to the 10th floors of the hotel collapsed. So I had a lot of people worried about me, which I'm so grateful. And they were checking on me on Saturday afternoon, seeing if I was okay, because they knew I was in New Orleans and that this hotel had collapsed. So my heart goes out to the people in New Orleans, my soul brothers and sisters. and I hope that that they are okay. I don't know. I think there was 2 casualties and at least 20 people injured. So I'm just so glad that yeah, exactly, Mr. Shoddy Red. He said it looked like the Twin Towers collapsed. That was the first thing that raced through my mind when I saw footage. I was like, oh my God, this is like 9/11 all over again. And it was crazy. What Spirit revealed to me, people are going to say that it was an accident, faulty construction, etc. But what I was revealed that it was actually spirits there trying to get tourists to see, and the people there that are from New Orleans to see that they're not happy with the tourism, specifically, I guess, in that Canal Street. Like, it is a long, if I'm not mistaken, it's a long street. So I am just so glad that I am okay, and that my friend Pamela is okay. We both left. Mr. Shoddy Red says it was so much smoke, building dust in the air. That's horrible. Yeah, it was like a big explosion, but it wasn't really an explosion. It was the concrete, the structures collapsing. So that's the lesson and the message tonight. Before I get to reading people, listen to your spirit guides. Listen when they talk to you, because when we don't listen, that's when things go wrong. So listen to your spirit guides when they're nudging you, even if you don't agree, even if you're stubborn, because God knows I'm stubborn myself and I don't always listen to spirit. Follow your intuition, follow spirit's intuition, always. So yeah, it's a lesson. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Leslie Michelle. So I'm just so glad that I'm able to be here with you guys. Yeah, it's a long street. Canal Street's a pretty long street. And it was like Canal and Rampart, I think. I can't pronunciate those streets very well, but yeah. Yeah, bad things do happen when you don't listen. Yeah, the Hard Rock Hotel collapsed. So that is going on. Then the other message that I had, that recently came to me, and I wanted to share with other people, is that when you, a lot of you are maybe going through some intense situations, especially with the full moon in Aries. For those of you that are not aware, we are in the full moon, and so a lot of people are coming to me, and I barely just got back to the office today, and I'm doing readings again. But I have a lot of people that have messaged me over the weekend, going through some intense situations. One of the things that you may notice this week in particular is not necessarily that you're going to compare yourself to another person that is having success, but there's going to be a lot of revelations that are going on this week in particular, primarily where it concerns somebody else's success or what they're doing with their soul tribe. There's always going to be their life path and your life path. And just because someone is also having the success that they're having, regardless if it's because they are, getting help from somebody that is, in the industry or that has connections, or regardless if it's yourself, you're going to see a lot of people's true colors. Like for me, some of my friendships, etc., I talk about it. This week in particular, with this whole weekend, I should say, from Friday on forward, was very eye-opening as to how things are carried out by certain people and the deceptiveness that goes into this. It's almost like in a level of immaturity when you're dealing with some people. It's almost like you have, it's almost like you're in high school all over again, or junior high. And it's just immaturity that you have to deal with. Maybe like this person doesn't want to share their friend, or, they're intimidated that you will come between them and their friendship. And I feel like that's a lot of insecurities that people have, especially like a lot of you that can relate to that. When you have, a friend that you've been longtime friendships with, and there's somebody else in the picture now, and it's like, this whole thing, it's like they're trying to be, the other person is trying to be protective of, you, because now this other person is intrigued by you, and, it's just so draining, so childish, and that's something, unfortunately, that that we may be going through with this full moon. Like I said, a lot of people's true colors are going to be coming out during this week. A lot of people are going to be revealing the damaged aspects of themselves. And I'm doing this kind of mini, intuitive horoscope read for all of the zodiac signs, since I didn't do the horoscopes this weekend, primarily because I was on that. So a lot of you are going to feel that intensity this week when it comes to your friendships and your relationships, and looking at them with a fine scope, a microscope. Basically, you're going to find out, you're going to see the imperfections, and you're going to see whether or not you can work it out, or you're going to have to move away from the situation. For me and myself, I saw some true colors of some people that call themselves my friends and who I considered, like soul family. But when it came down to it, to the nitty gritty, and it became very real, it was like I saw, the snobbish side. Money changes people. Like I've always said, it changes people sometimes for the better or for the worse. And so the person that I'm referring to, which shall remain nameless, is someone who has aligned themselves with someone else that has a lot of money and influence, etc. And it's like you may be a friend to that person, and you may not realize that you're actually being influenced by them. It boils everything down to maybe what kind of clothes you're wearing, who your friends are, and it changes people. So this week, that's something else, to not take your friendships for granted, not let money get to your head just because you have it. That someone else is better just because they wear Gucci, just because they wear Prada, or they wear, all these Louis Vuittons. They have Louis Vuitton purses. That doesn't make a person a good person. It doesn't make you who you are, but it does. A lot of people, money does get to their head, and so they treat people like garbage, and they feel this sense of entitlement that because they are able to financially be a certain way, that it's okay to treat other people, and that other people won't just bite their tongue. And I'm the type of Gemini that has a double Cancer in my rising and moon, that if people do me wrong, I'm going to move away from them, and I'm not going to be very vocal to them. I may resort to a meme and not call them out specifically, but a lot of people will know who I'm talking about, or they will know that I'm talking about them when I get upset, or when it has come to a point where it's time to say goodbye. And that's one of the things that I don't have problems with, is cutting people that are toxic out of my life, or just, I can be nice, but I'm not going to be fake. And one of the things I cannot stand about people is when people are fake. It's like, ha ha ha, oh, how are you doing? I hope you had a good stay in New Orleans. And it's just like, that person was in New Orleans, and so for them to not make time for me, it was definitely a situation that is like, like, if you'll know when your true friends, who your true friends are, when they cannot make time for you, or they may start making excuses. Everything that happened to me while I was there was great and amazing, but yet there was this aspect of myself that I know that a lot of you can relate to, that just people just being deceptive and jealous, maybe to share their friendship or their acquaintances or who they know with someone else, because maybe they feel intimidated that that person is going to see me in a certain way. So it was an eye-opening experience. And I think Louisiana, and I think New Orleans, and all the ancestors that are there, and all the spirits that were there to help me open up my eyes and see that. And that's the one thing that I really give them thanks and glory to, that they were able to open up my eyes. And it became very apparent, because when I went there, I felt I was going to make time available to see, this person, and that person was not available, and there wasn't even a text message like, hey, are you here? So I was like, you know what? That's fine. That's cool. That's all good. People show you their true colors, but you get to see that. And if you really pay attention, you get to see it and, move away from it. because it's not worth you getting upset. It's not worth you losing any sleep over. Eventually, they're going to continue to do that because that's what damaged people do. That's what insecure people do. And what's so funny is that a lot of these people tend to claim, that they have, spiritual abilities and that they are healers and they can see, this and this and this and this. But when it comes down to it, they don't practice what they preach. They are not authentic. And I'm not, trying to come for anyone, but I'm just keeping it real. And that's something, unfortunately, that is happening, that you have a celebrity friend, or you have someone that is very famous and they have a friend of a friend, that knows someone. It could just be, you and a group of girls that, or women that you're friends with, or they don't want to, so that's what I'm talking about. Your friends, and treat them, the people that care for how they will feel, those people. And it's very lonely, a very lonely place. And then when you meet that person, you already burned your bridges. And so, like I said, you just got to take it with a grain of salt this week and keep it going, keep it moving, because it's like peace with that. Just keep it moving, because it's not good energy, basically. So that's basically the energy for this week. This week, it's all about kind of transforming and looking at your finances as well, your money. One of the things for me traveling in New Orleans, I will say this, that a lot of things are very expensive when you go to the tourist shops. There were some shops that I went to that they thought that I didn't know, but Ray knows. Jewelry that they were selling for like $200 when it's worth only $20 or $30. Me being someone that sells jewelry, that actually goes and looks at vendors and finds vendors to buy my merchandise from, etc., I can definitely tell you that a lot of people are getting ripped off in these tourist shops. So if you see something that you really like, try to negotiate the price down, because these people are making like triple and quadruple the profit of what those things actually cost. And to me, it's just horrific. I had another situation. I love spending the first 30 minutes or so of the show to talk about things. Don't get hustled in Houston, Texas, okay? When you're in the airport, if any of you ever happen to be in the Houston, Texas airport and you want to get to an Uber, I had someone approach my mother and myself to give us a ride. And I was like, wait, I need to know how much, because I already knew intuitively. I was going to tell him, hey, I'm a psychic. I know what you're up to. But I was like, okay. So in the airport, when I got out, there is this TNC line to be picked up by an Uber or somebody. And I got there, and this guy comes and he's like, come with me to the other side. So we walked to the other side of the airport, and he had this luxury vehicle. Well, when I got from inside and he had loaded everything, he's like, pull out your Uber app. And he was like, it's going to be $600 to get 120 miles to where I live, which typically just costs like 157 on the actual app itself. So I was like, no, sir, that's not going to happen. I don't have that kind of money. And even if I would, I wouldn't. So I asked him to just leave us back in the front, and that's what I did. Yeah, $600. It's crazy. Pay attention, because elderly people and people that are, my mother's elderly, of course, and disabled. And there's people that are elderly or disabled that may not, that may have that money and may just be not feeling well, and they want to go, and they're not really paying attention, and they'll pay it. Especially people, that is people extorting people and taking advantage of the situation and need. So I actually got away and had him drop me back. And then I got the next person, which was a Cuban. And I have nothing against Cubans. Mr. Shadira said, no, ma'am. Yeah, that's right. I was like, period, poo. Like, no, that's not going to happen. So then I get another guy, and he charges the correct fee, 157. When he gets off, he thinks that I don't speak Spanish, or that we're, Caucasian and I'm mixed. I was like, usted habla en español, ¿verdad? And so that's like, you speak Spanish, right? I was asking him a question. Then he was like, oh, sí, yo soy de Cuba, yo hablo en español, yo te puedo llevar. And basically he was talking in Spanish that he could take us. He wanted me to cancel the Uber app, the Uber trip on the app, and he wanted cash for the trip. He wanted $200 of cash. It was just the cold front came in, and it was very cold, and I didn't want my mom to be waiting there. It was already late in the evening, so I was like, you know what, that's fine. Even though I paid that, it's okay, because karma comes back to people that are like that. So you just have to pay attention to people that are like that. I ended up paying this. I know it's crazy, but listen to it. I paid attention. I paid the money. I went to the ATM later on, maybe about a couple of minutes before where he, after we left that area of the airport. We drove for a couple of minutes. I got off at a gas station, and I got the money. When everything was said and done, I reported him. And I took screenshots and everything, because this is just, I cannot believe that there are people like that. They don't want to use the actual app. And this guy was dressed in Versace, claiming that he was, poor, blah, blah, blah. And again, like I said, you're going to find that there are these people that want to take advantage of the situation. When you are using the app, and let's say they pick up someone and they get off of the app, they have to log out. When he canceled that trip, he was no longer logged into the app. That they can easily see that, which was a dumb on his area. So then I asked him on the ride to my town, I said, so what are you going to do after you finish, and you return back to Houston? Are you going to continue working? He was like, nope, I'm going to go home and relax. Well, yeah, you made the money off of it, and I hope you enjoyed it for a while, while it lasts for you. But I did report him, and what I found out, speaking to another Uber driver that is someone that was a native of Houston, Texas, is that there is supposedly this Cuban mafia. They call them the Cuban Uber mafia, and what they do is they have two phones, one for Lyft, one for Uber, and they leave one closer to the airport, hidden somewhere in the airport, because when that happens, they can get that right. I don't know how that works, but supposedly they leave it there, and then they come back for it and move it. Again, how it works, Uber will match you to the closest driver near you. And so that's the way it was described to me. I don't know if it's true or not. A Cuban Uber mafia. That's a lot of Cubans that are coming from Miami, Florida to Texas, and they are working that area. So again, you just have to ask yourself, what is really the situation? But apparently, yeah, there is this going on where they're hustling people, like they hustled me, which I didn't mind, because of the fact that, it's coming back to him. Obviously, it's karma. Maybe he needed the money, and I had it at that time. Like I said, I didn't want to inconvenience my mother waiting. The trip was, basically I just paid $50 more than what I would have paid for the Uber drive. But you have to be careful, because one of the things that I didn't realize, that the Uber driver that told me about this mafia, etc., is that, this Uber Cuban mafia, I don't know. He was like, you have to be careful, make sure that, if you can't cancel it, and then just go to another, get another Uber driver, because what happens that what if you would have been in an accident with that person in their vehicle? Not only that, but kidnapped as well. If you go and get in an accident, you cannot, claim it through Uber. You cannot claim it at all, basically. That's what I was told. So you have to be very careful with that, and make sure that you're going through Uber. But not only that, people are laughing at the Uber mafia. I know he said it like that. It was so funny. This Uber driver that's local, that is actually a Houston native. But you have to really be careful with Uber. Like people were saying here, that was a foolish thing on my part, because people could be, well, the thing is, he doesn't know if I had a taser. And I'm not revealing if I do or don't. But anyways, I was not bothered by his presence, but I was on alert. The thing is that you could be kidnapped. There's a lot of human trafficking that work with Uber, and they're doing this human trafficking. In all seriousness, that is going on. And so, be careful if you're out there, if you're traveling. Don't get into anyone's vehicle that is kind of being shady and wanting money on the side. You have to be very careful because Houston is a huge city, and there's a lot of people that will hustle you for money. Somebody said that was the best story yet, Ray. But it is sad that it's happening to people. And like I told Uber, I was like, if this happened to me, just imagine how many other people this has happened to. Intuitively, I knew I was not going to be kidnapped, so I wasn't really afraid of him. I could have taken on him. He was like smaller. I'm a big person, so this is a lot of jelly, here to deal with. I would have smushed him. But in all seriousness, you have to be very careful. So yeah, just be very careful when you're traveling. Don't get into hi Diane Starkey from Germany. Oh, I'm glad I'm making y'all laugh. But it is so true. It is so true. There's a lot of human trafficking going on in Houston, in the major cities. Be careful. In New Orleans, when I was there, somebody's like, Lauren's like, let me show what she said. She said, beat that ass, Ray. You best believe, like, this is the nice Ray, but I can be ghetto if I need to be and defend myself. Like I said, my pounds and how big I am, like, I'm not really big, but I'm just a big bear here, and like I could have taken him. But in all seriousness, just pay attention to people. It's not worth paying them if they are like, don't pay anyone cash at all. Because you never know. Not only that, but like if they have drugs, let's say this person would have had drugs in his vehicle. I could have showed the police, my my app and how he canceled it. But again, you just got to be careful because at the end of the day, it's your safety. So I'm glad I made y'all laugh. I love having these chats, and my life is nothing short of funny and different. Every day is something new. Like I always have so much. Adrian, I'm part Native American, part Spanish, part Black, part Italian. I'm like a mixture. I'm just reading your comments. Everybody's comments are so funny. But yeah, human trafficking is no joke, and it's going on in every city in the world. And there's other tactics that they're doing. People that are, going through this, that, they go into an Uber driver thinking that it's like, because they have like, some of the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers have like a sticker on the front saying that they work with them, but they're not really like that. So you just got to be careful. I don't know like how bad this organization is with human trafficking, but it is really going on, and it really is serious and scary that it's happening. Now, shifting subjects, a lot of people were asking me about Columbus, Christopher Columbus, and who he was. And I don't feel like, I've never celebrated Columbus Day, even though we've been given off that day before in school or, other places, not school, but like at work or maybe. Erica, dale un chingazo. You best believe it. I know Taekwondo. I know something. I know how to kick. Like I said, I could have smushed him. But anyways, moving on. Christopher Columbus was not a good person. People peg him as this person that discovered America or that came from Spain. I don't remember, I wasn't all into the history stuff, but it's lies. It's all lies. It is all, he was someone, I believe that traded slaves, that actually had slaves. He was not a good person. He was a woman beater. He was someone that was just awful, an awful person. And I don't know why people glorify this man to this day, because of the fact that it's based on lies. Like I said, a lot of these historical figures in 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 history. They've been pegged to be a certain way, and they're not. Like, they're not at all. He was Italian. Okay, he was Italian. Whatever he was, it doesn't matter. Whatever nationality, the man wasn't a good person. Period. Pooh. And it was all based on slave trade and stuff like that. And they did that, but the history is not going to necessarily always document that. Yes, he killed people. Yes, his crew killed people. Yes, all that. So I never have really cared for Christopher Columbus at all, or celebrated the holiday at all. And again, I don't know why people do, why, our forefathers, etc., claim that he, or history, why they claim that, he discovered, America, blah, 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 because he really didn't. And he's just a horrible person. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And definitely far from being a hero completely. So yeah, my whole thing is like, teachers are teaching children, about Christopher Columbus, and having them coloring sheet, glorifying this man, who was definitely someone that was not a good person at all. So let me just see here. Yeah, there's a lot of people that agree with me. They probably don't like him. I'm just reading the comments here. Adrian JR, he says, your spirit guides talk right in your ears. I can say a female spirit. And you're right. I do have a female spirit guide who does talk to me. But yeah, unfortunately, a lot, like somebody said here, Ryan said, unfortunately, America does love racists. And it is what it is. And it's just sad. It's very sad. There was a movie that I was watching this weekend. What was the name of it? I can't remember. It was a horror movie. I think if I find the name, let me see. I have my Amazon Prime movie here, and it was based on the Underground Railroad. And I highly recommend it for you to see. And it may be a little scary for some people. Let's see, what was the name of this movie? Let me see. But basically what it was, they had a station master in the movie, and they thought that he was a good person because he would stash a lot of slaves and hide them and supposedly help them. It wasn't Harriet Tubman, but he would, get a lot of slaves under the Underground Railroad and push them supposedly and free them, and finally he was killed. But it turned out to be that the girl that was, I can't remember the name of the movie, that found out about it was that it was The Haunting. Yeah, The Haunting in Connecticut, but Georgia, with Mr. Gordy. Yeah, that's the one. I just remembered it. If you haven't seen that, you need to see it. It was based on a true story. And basically, they found out that the station master was actually a racist, and he was killing the slaves. He left them an underground area to basically starve to death and die. It was horrific. And finally, the little girl, she sets those spirits free, etc. So watch that movie if you haven't already. It's a really, really good movie, and it's supposedly based on reality, but I don't know how far the truth. I feel like a lot of it was a little, sensationalized, but it really talks about the history of slavery and what slaves had to endure. Like, there was a lot of slave masters or station masters, or whatever they were called, that were supposed to help people, but they really were not good people. They were murderers. And they claimed, when they caught on about slavery and what was going on, they caught on about it. They caught on, and they pretended to be someone that wanted to rescue the slaves, but in reality, what they wanted to do was kill them in a very horrific manner. He was a taxidermist. So what he would do after they would starve, etc., he would basically stuff them with sawdust and whatever else they put in the the people, or the animals when they do that. So again, it's crazy, but it speaks to a lot of reality. And you definitely should see that. Somebody said the new Harriet Tubman movies so to be great. Somebody says, Robert says, have you seen Amazing Grace, the movie? No, I need to watch that. And thank you for for mentioning that. There's a lot of movies that I want to see. Yeah, my ancestors who were slaves, and a lot of you that are come from lineages that had ancestors that were in the slavery. A lot of them endured inhumane conditions and abuse from these people that claimed to be protectors of them and wanted to free them. And they were really liars and really murderers and killers. Like I said, history is only going to paint a certain picture of what really went on in slavery, but only the ancestors and the families who carried out those stories really know the truth behind slavery. And what history books are a lie. What is depicted in the history books and what people talk about slavery, those stories, unless it comes from somebody that comes from a lineage and really knows what went down, it's all lies. Don't believe the history books. What we were fed in high school, horrible. The conditions that our ancestors had to go through and what they had to endure. So don't believe it. It's all social conditioning, lies that white people have really told. And no offense to my fellow race of light that are white, but those older generations that were white that basically told stories about it from their context, from their point of view, which was all lies. Like if you have a black person that was, comes from that time period, explain to you exactly what happened, it would be very different, the story that they're telling versus the textbook. And it's just true. Same thing for Native Americans. I'm part Native American. What my ancestors had to endure and the things that how they were treated, it's lies. Like the people that are in power now, their ancestors stole our land. They stole the land that we're living on today. And they call it America, but the land never belonged to them in the beginning. So that's why I find it comical that a lot of people that are in power, talk about immigrants and talk about people coming to, America, blah, 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 like they are, born citizens here. Yeah, they basically, Nicole says they rewrote history. But if they really look at it, their ancestry, that their ancestors were not from America. They came from Europe. A lot of these people came from Europe, from Britain, from, England, in that area. And they came and settled onto the land of our ancestors, and they stole it. And, they're going to say a different story. So, all right, I'm not going to get into that subject. That's a whole nother reading that I need to do. Let me go ahead and show you some cards that I picked up from New Orleans that I'm going to be showcasing, unboxing. These are the Raven's Wand Oracle. I don't know if any of you have seen this or have actually gotten the cards that have this deck, but it's from the U.S. Game Systems, and it basically includes 44 cards and a 60-page guidebook. This is it's inspired by Steve Hutton's popular Dark Raven Chronicles trilogy. Like I said, they had a lot of decks and stuff that I had never seen before in New Orleans, and basically it opens up. That's what you see. These are the back of the cards. That's how you see them. Kind of have like these dragons, beautiful dragons with the leaves. And again, they have so much good pictures here. Description. So I'm going to be using my intuition along with the cards to be reading for you tonight. My allergies are acting up. The weather here is crazy. Like Saturday, it was, no, Friday evening when I got home, it was like 53 degrees. And by Saturday, it already was in the 60s. Today was 94 degrees. Heat index about 97. So in South Texas, like I said, it's unpredictable. All right, so I'm going to start reading. If you want, oh, somebody says, what's that green stone on your finger? This is Prenite. It's a stone for healers. And this is a rainbow moonstone. You see that? Showing my bling off. That rainbow moonstone is faceted. And I found that out. This ring that I have on my finger, the center one, it costs maybe about $30 from India. And I bought it on Etsy. And I saw one of these same rings at the shop, priced for $190. Like I said, get your crystals somewhere else. But if you're in New Orleans and you can find it for that price like I gave to you, then you know that you're not being ripped off. But if you find it for, a very high price, don't get it. I love jewelry, if you can't tell. Oh, here's my bracelet. I had showed it on my other video, but this is a Prenite bracelet. I'm sorry. A pyrite bracelet, which I'd never seen. It's kind of in this raw form. Can y'all see that? It was so healing. I had to have it. So I got my pyrite there from New Orleans. That piece is from New Orleans, and I'm not going to say how much I paid for it, but it was pyrite is expensive. Like an authentic piece of pyrite is expensive, and it was worth every penny that I got, that I paid for. All right, guys, if you want a reading, a general reading, I'm only doing general readings, no mediumship or anything like that. Please comment general and I will get to you. And you don't need to comment over and over. If you just do it once, because it makes it easier for me to scroll up and see who wants a general reading, please. Okay. And I want to thank you so much, all of my rays of light, for supporting me, for understanding. A lot of YouTubers tend to, achieve the success of having a lot of subscribers, and they produce content even on their vacation. And to me, for mental health and for your well-being, like, you need time to yourself. Like, you need to detach. Y'all will wait. My true rays of light will wait for me to feel better and come back on and understand that. But I think there's so much pressure for YouTubers that just want to continue to produce content, and it comes at a price. Their mental health is affected, and why some people are like that. So if I ever go MIA, that's the reason why. Needing some quality time. Okay, let me see who here is. I'm gonna get, let's see, Robert Bullen. Let me see. Robert Bullen. I don't know if you wanted. Let me see if Robert, if you're there, Robert Bullen, do you want a general reading? Because I'm very drawn to you for some reason. I'm gonna wait for him to comment. Okay. I don't know why, but Spirit wants me to read for you. So I'm pulling out some cards. Hi, Andy. Okay, Robert, I'm pulling some cards. Okay, for you, Robert, I got Prove Yourself. It feels like, this is the card. Can you see it? It says Prove Yourself. And basically, it's like, I feel like this card is saying that in some ways, maybe you have felt like you've had to prove yourself in your work life, in your family life, with people, in your life in general, that you've had to kind of prove yourself in some kind of way. And Spirit is saying at this time to just be your authentic self. Don't worry about having to prove anything to anyone. You are enough. You are capable. And there's no reason for you to have to show yourself, or be anything else than who you are. And if people can't accept you for that, tell them bye. The next card I got for you here was Eternal Flame. And it has this light. I feel like you're in a point in your life where you're needing guidance. You may be drawn to certain books, certain people that are spiritual in nature, that do readings, that are psychics, mediums. There's this part of you that is craving some answers or needing some answers regarding your journey here in the physical world. This could be more like dealing with what I get intuitively with your life path. Maybe you're not feeling so happy in certain areas of your life, like your love life, in your just in general, like, you know, in different areas. You look at everything, you analyze it, but you're like, you know, what am I going to do next? I feel like this is kind of like a slower period for you, Robert, that you're going through. Almost like you need this time to just kind of assess everything and what's going to be your next move. At the same time, I feel like it's a card showing worries, like you are worried about your finances, quite possibly with money. So Spirit is like telling you that he's holding a lantern, and notice that there's a lot of birds, which is Spirit guiding you. What I feel like this is saying in this card is that, you know, you're leaving behind and the old you're shedding it, and it's going to feel kind of uncomfortable in this time period that you're in, but you're going to be okay financially. I feel like this is something like where you're going to be guided by Spirit to maybe change, if not jobs, change some aspect of what you do to, you know, get money, revenue, etc. And so it's going to change. The last card I got here is Standing Tall. And, you know, this is depicting someone that has, you know, a lot of spiritual protection. That, notice how she's wearing the conical hat. In which times, you know, in the olden times, the conical hat was, if I'm not mistaken, was a conical in shape to let people know that, you know, that they were kind of, it helped the connection to Spirit. If I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of different interpretations, but the conicals, like the pyramid, it's basically reaching to your, you know, your higher self and your magical side. I feel like this is saying that you need to, there's people that have talked about you that hurt you in some way, and I'm not going to discuss all of that on here because, again, that's your private life, but I feel like there's people that have hurt you in your past, and so you maybe kind of have taken on that role of, you know, thinking that in some ways, or accepting or making excuses of why you were treated this way, or feeling like maybe there's some validity to what they've told you, but it's all lies. Spirit is saying that you're not to blame for this, and you need to stand tall. You have nothing to be ashamed of, okay? Nothing to be ashamed of your past, any, you know, darker periods in your past, things that you're not proud of, because we change in time, and we're no longer that person. So you don't beat yourself up over that. And that's the message right now from Spirit. And I hope that it resonates with you, Robert, and I hope it helps you. And I thank you so much for being on here. Like I said, this is something that Spirit wanted you to have. So hold on to anything that doesn't make sense. Okay, so let me shuffle some cards and see who else I'm going to read. Yeah, I got my hair done today. It is platinum, super platinum. It kind of looks grayish, which is like the trend right now. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, let me see who else. I'm going to scroll up. Andy. Let me do Andy Rodriguez. You've been on my lives before, and I don't think I've read for you. Andy Rodriguez. I was having a conversation. You're welcome, Robert. Yes, if you get a reading from me today and you want an in-depth reading, you can go to my website. It's www.raymondguzman.net/shop, and you'll see the different types of readings that I offer. And when it's private, it definitely, Chelsea, you're like, I'm thinking of going blonde. It's a lot to keep up with. My natural hair is dark brown, well, kind of like a light brown. So it does, when your roots start coming out, some people like that look of the dark roots and the blonde. Okay, so Andy, let me go ahead and pull some cards for you, sir. Okay, Andy, for you, I got Black Wand's Redemption. Very powerful. Notice that she has her hair braided, and it's light and dark. Light and dark. She has a lot of, again, very witchy. These cards are very witchy, but she's dressed in black. So for you, Andy, I feel like what this is saying here, just by the card and the energy itself, it's almost like you are shielding yourself from negativity. kind of coming into your spiritual self a lot more, balancing things. Because when it shows that her hair is like blonde and black, to me it's the light and our shadow self, and finding balance between the both. I feel like you're the type of person that, you know, people do or say something to you, you could easily go off on them like that, or, you know, put them in their place. And then there's a part of you that's quiet, reserved, doesn't say, you know, doesn't want drama. But I feel like you're kind of struggling between getting in touch with your dark side, your shadow self, and you can't be afraid of that. You know, whatever you're going through right now, Andy, where maybe you're just feeling kind of like, you know, you're like take a few steps forward and then you get a few steps back, and financially you're having problems, etc., or maybe worries, concerns in that area, even your love life. I feel like Spirit is saying that, you know, just you will be finding that balance. Right now is the time to kind of, you know, be planning and thinking about what's your next step, because I feel like you are going to be making some changes for yourself here. The other card that I got here is commitments for you. So maybe someone doesn't want to commit, or potentially someone is wanting you to commit to them and you're not ready. I feel like this is about love. For some reason, she's wearing the red cape, which to me is a connotation of love. So hold on to that if that doesn't make sense for you, Andy, but there is this area of your love life that's coming forward. And Spirit is talking about, you know, that potentially, you know, that you could be going through something like that with your love life. And maybe, you know, just how much you give of yourself to people. I feel like with all the wolves that are around you, you know, it's kind of like saying that there are people that are maybe fake around you, and just to be precautious, even though the card may have a different connotation to someone else or a different meaning. For me, it's like, you know, that saying wolves in sheep's clothing. I feel like for you, it's just to be very cautious and protective, and listen to your intuition when it comes to who is around you, who befriends you, and who you give your time to and energy. Because there's a lot of people around you that may be inauthentic. Okay, Andy, and the last card I got for you is Strength Renewed. And it's a very powerful card. She's holding the sword here. Basically, you're cutting through, again, all the drama. You are going to be successful. You're going to have the things that you want, which is money, love. Those two areas are very strong for you. Also, maybe like even moving in the future. There is a talks of move, but it's going to be kind of uncomfortable. Notice how she's standing on some broken rocks, which is not a solid surface. So you're going to feel like over the next couple of months, there's a lot of shaking up, a lot of things that are shaking, how should I say it, that are moving around you. And it may feel a little kind of like you're losing your edge or your grip, but you are going to be just fine. But you have to be patient. And so I hope that this actually resonates with you. If not, hold on to it. And I want to thank you for asking for a reading. That's for Andy Rodriguez. So that was your general reading. Okay, let me go up. Thank you, Andy. And you're welcome. Okay. Keep getting a lot of these pop-ups from Fox News on my laptop. And I'm like, why am I getting all these Fox News updates? And usually it's about political things. And I'm like, I don't want to know. Okay, artistic mom, artistic mum, which is mom. But that in Britain and in Australia, some people refer to them as mum, like mummy. Mummy dearest, autistic mum. And some cards for you. Just shuffle. Okay. Artistic mum, Queen of Hearts. Notice that she's holding, has blood dripping. Basically, she's had to stab the snake. That's what I feel like. Or, kind of protect herself from that using a part of her antler. Basically, for you, artistic mum, I feel like this is spirit saying that you're having to use all of your skills and, your energy to kind of, again, protect yourself from people in your past that maybe still maybe in your present causing problems. Your family, for some reason, keeps coming up in all of this. I don't know if it's your family or maybe someone else in your life, but I keep feeling like this could even be like a past partner or relationship that kind of has led you feeling kind of, protective, and you always have your guard up, which is going to change, I feel like, with this card. It's talking about confronting our demons, confronting those things that are darker and that make us feel uncomfortable, which would be the serpent here. Okay, so hold on to that. And then I got unity, something that you may be seeking. Maybe it's like a love relationship, seeking more unity, more understanding, and maybe just not in your love life, but just people in general in your life understanding you. I feel like because you are, different, you're very colorful. I don't know, something about your hair. I don't know if you've changed your hair to different colors over time. This is her artistic mum. But I keep feeling like you are a free spirit, almost like a gypsy, very carefree, very misunderstood by your actions, etc. And so, again, you've been seeking some kind of unity, but Spirit is reminding you that being yourself and unique is just enough. And people will gravitate towards you, just you being yourself. And the last card that I got here is Changing Paces. And it's a very powerful card. Okay? Changing Paces. So basically, for me, it's, again, the messengers, the birds here that you see. It's the messages from Spirit. I feel like changing paces means that change is coming for you. Some of it will be kind of the negative parts, maybe kind of like where you're having to interpret it, and it's kind of like weighing you down. And part of you is like a warrior. You notice how she has her face kind of painted with different colors as well, kind of being like a warrior, kind of fighting through, but ultimately being victorious in this. Also, like kind of having, like I said, a balance of both, having control of your emotions. You can get upset, but you know what your limits are, and you're not going to stay in that vibration for too much long, for long periods at a time. So again, I feel like this is a very good card for you. A lot of good changes, but again, when we go through changes, not every change is going to feel very pleasant at first. Okay, let me go down. Just reading the comments, guys, who wanted a reading. Okay, Sweet Spirit. I'm going to read for Sweet Spirit. They asked for a general reading. Okay, I'm going to switch over. Spirit is saying for me to switch over to a different group of decks. Let me show you the other deck that I acquired. Alice in Wonderland. No, Alice the Wonderland Oracle. This is done by, let me see, what's her name? Lucy Cavendish. She's from Australia. And this is a 45 cards and 132 page guidebook. I love Lucy and all of her, my fellow Australian I love, love, love her cards. And the styles that they make the cards in. These cards are a little looser, more flexible. See, very flexible. And that's the design of the back. Okay, sweet spirit, let's see what comes up for you. Okay, for sweet spirit, the first thing it says, manage to be glad. Create your own happiness regardless of conditions. So cute. I love the color of her eyes. Basically, what it's saying here is, not looking at the negatives. I feel like for you, it's very easy, sweet spirit, to fall into the negative thinking. Not that that's a bad thing. We all do it. I do it myself. Spirit just wants you to, kind of find the positivity and acknowledge your blessings, because what you're wanting, changes in your finances, maybe finding more happiness, a better health, etc. All these things are going to improve for you, but it's just shifting your mentality. Okay. And the next card I got is mortality. Life is brief, bright, beautiful, and yours to live. Very powerful card. Notice that. Who has bluer eyes? Just joking. Color blue, when I see it, to me means healing. I feel like there's a part of yourself, again, like I said, that is needing healing, sweet spirit. Maybe it's, pain that you're going through, sadness, depression. But basically living in the moment, enjoying this life that we have, because again, it tends to by very, and I feel like this is very important for you. All of Lucy's decks, I say that they're always very beautifully illustrated. Let's see who else. Okay, Nick OTL. Let's see if Nick is still on. I don't know if Nick is still on. Nick OTL. Oops. Can you believe October's almost here? October's almost done. Halloween is almost here, and then we'll be in Thanksgiving. All that, stuffing with gravy and mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, pumpkin pies, yams, candied yams, hams, carved tamales. All those foods that I could have, but I won't be able to eat. Maybe in moderation, like a little piece, like a cheat day. Maybe that day of Thanksgiving will be a cheat day, but I can eat the turkey. I can probably eat the green beans, but stuffing is a big no-no. Very big. Okay. This is for, like I said, OTL. Where is he? Nick OTL. Okay, Nick. For you, I got, we're all mad here. Everyone is a little different. I feel like that is speaking to you. You're very different, maybe on the eccentric side, or very misunderstood at times. Okay, and it's okay to be like that. People are going to find your craziness or your vibe, your colors very attractive for them, for your attracted to you. And I feel like you're very caring about others as well. Maybe you're holding too much space in your mind and in your soul for other people who maybe are not reciprocating that, and you need to let that go. And then you got the second card, investigate. Look closely, ask questions, think before acting. This feels like this may be almost like you are going through not necessarily a difficult time, but you're needing to slow things down and think about things before making any kind of changes or saying yes to any situation over the next couple of months. I don't feel like this is something happening now, but more like kind of like more future oriented for you, which you'll have situations that come up for you that you need to kind of contemplate before you sign a contract or make any changes or apply for a program, etc., or anything that you would be doing. Just kind of take it, analyze it, sit with it, but don't make any immediate or on the spot actions, or take any actions unless you're very sure of it. Right? Okay, let me go down. I made y'all hungry with that comment about stuffing with gravy, right? Pumpkin pie, pecan. Do y'all say pecan or pecan? Here in South Texas, I say pecan. Some people are like, it's pecan. And I'm like, if you say pecan, it's P-E-E-C-A-N, like, pecan. But some people say pecan. I say pecan. How do y'all say it? Having this debate. Let me scroll down so I can see that. It's so random. Pecan. Pecan, right? It's pecan. Huh. I like how y'all said P-A-H-C-A-W-N. I want some pecan pie. Some people that I want some sweet potato pie. Basically, I don't like sweet potatoes. I don't know. I don't like sweet potatoes. I like yams. I don't think they're the same. A lot of you are saying pecan. My little humor here. I love you guys. I'm a big foodie, and like this year it's like being, diabetic, etc., taking my health seriously. I've lost 30 pounds. My blood sugar levels are doing good. I'm not about to ruin it because trust me, the holidays come around and it's like the first thing, it's like going back, someone being addicted to something and going back to it. And it's like you are given a tray or a plate of all these delicious foods and then you just have that one scoop and then you want more of it. So you got to take care of your body. Like that's the one thing. Yeah, no sweets. Ooh, spicy Pisces. My A1C is 8.9. Girl, please be careful. That's high. That is too high. Mine was 7.1. So luckily, I hope by the time I get my test again in November, that it has gone down to like 5. We can only hope. And New Orleans didn't help, but I can say one thing. When I was there in New Orleans, I never ate any sweets that I can remember. So I can talk about sweets all day, and that makes me feel good, remembering and reminiscing about the pecan pie, the pecans. But yeah, I just can't have that now. Oh my God, yours used to be 10.9? My friend's husband used to have a 14 A1C and was told that basically he needed to get it down or he could, end up in the hospital. Like, really? Okay, there's something y'all are making me laugh about pralines. No pralines. Pralines or pralines? Okay, let me get back to being serious. I'm talking about food. I will say this, I will never miss my food. Like, miss talking about food or watching videos. Sometimes I watch videos and get ideas about food so I can, do the diabetic version of it. For those of you that are not familiar with Swerve, it is a sugar replacement. I use that for whenever I have coffee and I need a little sugar in the coffee. It is a diabetic sugar. Basically, it does not disrupt your sugar levels. Go to Swerve. It's the best thing. People say that stevia is good. To me, stevia is gross. What's the other one? Truvia is gross to me. I cannot stand those sugars, sugar replacements. Not even Splenda. So I use Swerve. And if you want to bake diabetic sweets, if you need to have diabetic sweets, they have brown sugar that is Swerve. Basically, it's sugar-free. Well, not sugar-free, but it is diabetic. For diabetics, I guess it would be sugar-free or like It's a sugar substitute, I would say. That's the proper word. So y'all hate stevia too. It's so gross. Like I had bought stevia and I put it in my cup of coffee. Oh, at the end of it, like before you finish and like finish eating your, if you're eating a candy apple, Debbie, stop it. It was so gross. The stevia left like a nasty aftertaste. And Splenda too. And like I would drink water after my coffee, and it was like I could taste all that Splenda. It's so gross. Like I stay away from stevia, Splenda, Truvia, all those, and I only use Swerve. My friend and colleague Chris Montoya, he actually got me on Swerve because I was telling him how horrible I was having a time of finding sugar substitute. And he was like, try Swerve. So Swerve. Molasses. Okay, let me see here. Oh, this is my teeth now with the Invisalign. This is my second set of trays. Can y'all see the difference? Like people are saying like you really didn't need them, but I really did. Okay. Let me see. I'm going back up. Sharon Lynette, thank you for your donation. Thank you those that are donating tonight. My allergies are acting up big time. Sharon's going to be my last one tonight. Okay. Sharon. Okay, for you, Sharon, I got clock time, pressure, in a rush. Feel like you are worried about something, my dear. There's something that you are very worried about. I don't know what it is, but it feels like this could be around your finances. It could also be feeling like around your love life, maybe like, you're feeling like you're running out of time or that you're at a certain age, etc. There's a sense of kind of like when we get into comparing ourselves to other people that we know, that maybe having, of the family, getting along or, having celebrations. And I feel like you're lacking this in some way, Sharon. I don't know why Spirit is making me feel that. And you feel like time is a ticking, but basically this is divine timing. That's what the clock represents for me. Like it's divine timing. Things are going to happen when Spirit feels like it's going to happen. But the fact that you got this card, I feel like changes are coming very soon, very positive ones for you. Okay. And the next card I got for you was Impossible Things, Working Through Disbelief, Imaginative Leaps, Fresh Perspective. Like I feel like you've lost your connection to Spirit, to the higher power, maybe doubting that the universe is really providing for you or going to help you in some kind of way. My allergies, again, like I said, are acting up. But I feel like there's a lot of hope for you, my dear. That is for Sharon Lynette. There's hope for you. Things are going to be happening for you. Things are going to get better. It's about like being immersed in your imagination, using your creativity to help you. So when you feel kind of like stuck in a rut or you're feeling kind of like nothing is getting better, look at some comedy movies. Maybe start using your artistic area, your creative areas. Get your creative juices flowing. Put on some music that you like. Maybe get a sketch pad and just doodle, even if it's stick figures. A lot of times that's going to help us, meditate, etc. So for you, I feel like this is very important, okay? Let me scroll down. That was for Sharon Lynette. So let me go ahead and just looking here. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up because, like I said, I need to go on and do some other things. But I really enjoyed the time on here. I really, really love y'all so much. And like I said, I will try to do these once a week. It may either be Mondays or Wednesdays. I wanted to squeeze this in on Mondays because the rest of the week I'm going to be very busy. catching up and doing readings and things like that. But if you have caught this and you're looking at it now at this time, yeah, I'm going to take my Zyrtec. It's time for that. Be sure to, look at this video and do a replay. So thank you, love and light. Blessings to everyone. Have a good night or day, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you.